Today is a fun video because today we're showing you some products that are about to be released soon. We're going to finish this build together. We're going to take it out to the runway and rip with it. We also have a surprise. Systems are getting bigger and bigger. 12S. So people have now dual 12S. Many people have many S's. We thought, okay, how can we make it even bigger for the customers? And this is what we did. This is still now in testings. It's going to be offered soon once it actually proves us that it's better than this chassis. Surprise! Some of you might say, well, Roz, you're such a Castle fanboy. How could it be? I love Castle. But many people have asked me lately if we're offering those Hobbywings. They're obviously the new Max 5 HV Plus G2 and this big motor. And we kept saying, no. But then we said, here's the thing. We should probably sell what the customers want, not what we want. So we're still very in good relationship with Castle. We're going to offer Castle systems and sell all of them, of course, including the HV coming out, but we're also going to offer these. So we're not going to be the bottleneck. We're not going to be the limiting factor. Whatever you guys want, you guys can buy. Before we offer it, I have to test it. Let's install these two real quick on the new Perfect Pass motor mount. Install it on the new chassis that we're going to test together. We're going to pretty much torture this chassis because we need to make sure it's strong enough. And then we are going to the runway. We actually have some couple other builds today that we're going to test. So it's going to be a pretty fun video. Let's begin. Let me build this real quick. I ended up going with 30 pinion, 45 spool. I want to let the system breathe a little bit. It's a 12S setup. It's new to me since I haven't played with the Hobbywing too much. I ended up installing the Perfect Pass steering mechanism as well, of course, and the carbon fiber titanium ultimate drive shaft. I don't want to say Perfect Pass all the time. Everything you're seeing is Perfect Pass, all right? Great. For the longest time, I wanted to create a top deck, but I always had a problem. I am extremely OCD. The problem is, and all those top decks are the same, and this is something I hated for a while, so I didn't want it on our cars. The problem is that you have a ton of holes here, which is very ugly in my opinion. Here's what I did. We came up with a pretty nifty idea. So we are machining the carbon. We made sure that we have all the holes you need. It doesn't really matter what position you're deciding on going with or what orientation. Once you put your screws here, then you can finally install this plate that actually is provided with the top deck. Once you're done, you're closing your screws and everything, ta-da, and it just sits like so. It's beautiful, it's flushed. It just makes everything look very unique, very unified, and very clean. Let's install some stuff. I shortened those motor wires, put some nice heat shrink looms, you know the drill. I rerouted the ESC wire underneath that beautiful top deck. It's getting in from here, out from there, and goes into the receiver box. If it was up to me, the entire build, all my builds, will be Bluetooth because no wires, in my opinion, is sexy. Now we can finally talk about a surprise that many of you guys, as a matter of fact, 683, I just checked, 683 people hit the notify me when available on our website. So I'm pretty sure this will be out in like 20 minutes, but we're making more. We're making like 1,000 more units. This is finally the new bulkheads. Nice. Why it took so long? The biggest problem was the tolerances in the bearings. To have a very tight tolerance, interference fit, you have to change the tool of the CNC many times because you're talking about if this is a 16 millimeter bearing, interference fit will be 15.98 millimeter. Exactly. So you're talking about tens and hundreds and thousands of millimeters sometimes. It's very time consuming and it's very expensive. Everything is NSK, Japanese bearings, no gimmicks. Regardless of the shims that we provide for the right and left side, we also provide shims for the input shaft, for the center. So 0.8, 0.6, and 0.3 millimeter. Why it's important? Because I want you guys to have an extremely precise perfect mesh. You receive all the hardware, the screws, everything is 12.9 grade, by the way. Strong screws, so they're not going to strip on you. The O-rings are Parker. Everything is just super high quality. Starting with the O-ring, of course, this is the seal that we have in the bottom. Some of you might say, well, some other companies are offering the same, Raz. Well, yes, we copied it from the Creightons, from the off-road ones. Yes, we did. Who cares? It works. It sits nicely in a half dovetail. You just press it in there and that's it. 5 millimeter for all the stock ARRMAs and 8 millimeter for the other input shafts that are in the market. And we are actually coming out with an 8 millimeter input shaft for here. So this is why we provide both of them. For now, let's go with a 5. And I just opened it from the package. So you guys are as smart as I am when it comes to these. This is, that's it. This is a transition fit, okay? Interference fit, transition fit, some will call it in different ways. Interference fit is obviously a little bit harder than transition, but we're not going to get into it. What we want is for the outer race of the bearing to not spin with the bearing. And sometimes if a bearing goes in very, very easily, that's what will happen. It will then eat the aluminum. And that was one of my biggest concerns. It will eat the aluminum on the inner race here, of course, and then it will start vibrating a little bit. You're not going to notice it because it's going to happen slowly with time, but then in like a month, you're going to have a drive shaft that is starting to wobble and oscillate a little bit too much, and then it will destroy everything else. That's it. This is how it should sit. This is a professional bulkhead. If we're making a bulkhead, it needs to be that. If not, go buy something else. You don't need our bulkheads, right? And that was the concern. We've ran through probably 15, 20 different samples. I've put a ton of money on these, a ton. But it's finally ready. We finally have mastered the process. And I can safely tell you guys that we're offering the best bulkhead on the market by far for all the ARRMA 6Ss and 7 scale. Same goes to the side bearings. It needs to be transition fitted. It needs to barely fit, okay? It needs your differential. Nice. So enough resistance to barely fit so the outer race of the bearing is not moving, but not too much resistance so the inside of the bearing is moving freely without resistance. This is what you want, okay? This is what you want. You want a bearing that sits flushed beautifully inside and not moving. Same goes to the other side. Instead of just having a big slot and having the sway bar just, you know, just rattling inside, we decided to make something very, very precise. So if you have the front for the ARRMA, it's 2.4. It sits here very, very snug. Very, very snug, just like so. This is 2.7 for the rear. And we're actually coming out with a very strong, the one that actually works, sway bar, 4mm sway bar, monster, for all the 7 scales and the 8 scales, like all the ARRMA 6Ss. So this is for it, and it's going to sit inside with a 4mm monster cover. This comes with it as well. I think that once we release these, we now only have not that many, so it's going to be out in like 10-20 minutes, but we are making a ton more, so enjoy. I'm not sure about the body or the design of the wing, but we're going to talk about that in a second. First of all, the build, I'm done. It's over. It's super, super clean. Like I said, a ton of room for the Perfect Pass chassis. So even a 12S monster build can be built in about a day. Everything just fits into each other like Legos. So it's very, very easy. I had to, because of this weird duck, usually we use those FC100s or other body shells. For this weird duck, my first time at least, I had to redesign and install a custom-made splitter that actually fits here beautifully with a nice lip that actually seals the front so I don't have to use tape and whatever. It ended up being a very, very, very balanced build. Everything is just balanced, just clean. I'm trying to give you guys all the angles and everything just so you guys can see. I also had to actually design something for the back because that body shell needs a lot of support in the back. So I ended up doing that, which now actually supports it very, very well. This is an experimental diffuser. We have about 5 designs that we're considering offering eventually. So this is how this one looks. We're going to try it. I want to see how it behaves at 200 miles an hour, of course. I had to actually use the Perfect Pass launch control because surprisingly this one don't have it. So we're going to have the launch control anyway. When it comes to chassis, these actually are pre-drilled in the new chassis, so this makes it very, very easy. You just get these, you get the straps, and it don't matter what battery you're using or how many, you have the room and just plug and play. Like I said, it sounds like a plug for a Perfect Pass RC, but it's actually the truth. You just buy, it's a 200 mile an hour car, you buy all the parts on the website, and you have it in like a day and a half. You're done. You build it and you just take it out and go. So technology has advanced. When it comes to the body, I think this is a perfect example and a perfect case of overdoing it. I got this Delta Plastic CLR Mercedes. Imagine it without the wing, right? Everything was sleek, beautiful. I took my sweet time. It takes forever. I painted the body, painted the windows, taped everything, put the stickers, you know the drill. Then I was like, well, what about some backflips? What about the car being all over the place? I was kind of scared. I said, let's put a wing to it. The problem with those bodies is you don't really have a lot of support in the back. And anyway, I had to build that bridge that I told you before, just so we have a good support. So when the car squats and some wind is actually going here, it's not wobbling and everything. And I figured I'm going to build a wing. I think there's something weird when it comes to it have to be positioned here and not in the back because we don't have support. It ended up being kind of weird. I thought it's going to be sexy and sleek. I actually worked on the computer. Let me actually show you. I had to kind of design it and everything, and I had to actually build a nice support to it and whatnot. Well, I don't know. You tell me. This is it. It used to be sexy before the wing, and now it's kind of, I don't know, weird. This little behemoth has the Hobbywing system. What if we take yet another car that have the exact apples to apples, orange to orange? Here's what we're taking out to the runway. I actually have an interesting contender for this dogfight. It's going to be a pretty robust fight between these two because both are behemoths. We just built a brand new Perfect Pass build with a Hobbywing 12S, right? It's going to be run with two 6S batteries by SMC. This car, however, they're both Perfect Pass, straight as an arrow, clean, organized build, so no excuse to either. This one, however, is brand new, and this one is a bit more used. This was actually the test car for Castle Creations. It's a little bit rough around the edges, of course, because it's used, but this one, Hobbywing 12S, this one will be Castle Creations 12S. Of course, the Cobra 5 Ace HV by Castle Creations Ghost RC and Perfect Pass RC with a 2028 1100. However, just to be fair, this one have a 1700 2028 stainless steel rotor in it to help it with high RPM balance. 12S, this is an older 12S trio that I got. This one is the CLR, this one is the FC100. Let's get to the runway. All right, and here we are at the runway, bright and early in the morning. First, we're gonna have this little body right here. This can go either way. This body is a body that, by the way, when you guys are making these, make sure it's 6 gauge as well if you have a 6 gauge system, right? So it can go either way. This is a body that I haven't used before. And if you guys remember, the Le Mans didn't treat this car so well. And this car is notorious for backflips. All right, looks like we're working. This is pretty much what we're working with. Brand new build, never hit the road, brand new wheels, brand new pretty much everything, 2 6S batteries. Perfect Pass is set at 5 seconds. Really hoping that this car behaves. Really hoping that this body behaves. First run ever for this car. All is left is to cross my fingers, wish the car good luck, and let it eat. Turn around, and here we go. All right, the car ran straight. Not a huge fan of the not a huge fan of what the ESC sounded like. I have to be honest, it was actually rather weird. Something doesn't seem right. Let's go. I think we have a problem. I think we have a serious ESC issue over there. So one of those nerve-wracking fast. Oh man, that sucks. So the ESC was stopping, not stopping, stopping, not stopping, stopping, not stopping, and I did see some white smoke.
I'll be really surprised if we burn that Max 5 on the first run. Forgiving gearing, everything should be okay here, so I'm not really sure if that motor is an amp hog or what, but definitely not something I was happy to see. The car was stable, ran super straight. Oh yeah, that's not a good sign. That's not a good sign. We might have a car on fire. Oh man, really? First run? Hoping I can actually save some. Oh man, you're kidding me. Well, I'm not gonna be able to actually release those lipos. Oh man, you're kidding me. Well, I can't really touch it. I don't know if I can save them. Bar watch it because it might burst into flame any second. Really? Man, I'm actually very disappointed. It was a good run. It was an okay run, but really, you're kidding me. So lipos somehow didn't burst into too much flame. That body is a goner, and I worked really hard on that body. See, this is why it's so, it's pissing you off. Oh, I think the ESC is still on fire, man. Oh man, yeah, I don't know about that. That does not make me happy. I'm not really sure if the motor is an amp hog. It's not even hot. It's not even hot at all. What a weird thing. That's a lot of work into that build just to receive a 175 burn up of an ESC. Not happy. Let's try to move to a different car. I'm actually pretty surprised. That's you shouldn't have done that. The braking was so hard on that ESC. Not what I wanted to see. All right, let's try a different car. Man, what a shit. All right, so that was unfortunate. We're gonna have some conclusions when we get back into the shop. Until then, this car also very interesting. Same setup, Cobra 5 Ace HV on a 12S with 1100 kV. Gears are -1, so pinion 35 I think, and spool 36 should be okay. Not overcharged, not heat up. So we're gonna allow the batteries to drop voltage to ease on the system just to get a feel for the car. And perfect gas gyro work. Track start, you're seeing the raw side of the hobby, and sometimes it doesn't work, you know, so hopefully this time it does. Not as fast as I thought. Voltage dropped a little bit too much. Car is super straight, just kept a beautiful center line. So 164 for this setup. 164 miles an hour. Let's talk about some logs here. Run looks good, build looks okay. Very interesting. Voltage dropped a lot more than I thought it would. Those little batteries, SMC, and they are obviously not heat up, not overcharged, so kind of expected, but a little bit more than I wanted to see. When it comes to amp, just a joke, man. 285 amps, just cold, man. Just literally cold, as expected. We are going to gear up. So one thing to actually teach you guys, so this is what I do, to each their own, right? The car just ran 164, so it gives me the option to kind of adjust my calculations and understand what we're doing. I actually estimated that we're going to drop to 10S from 12S, 10S at 420, and I imagine that with those gearings and setup, it's going to go about 174. So we hit 164. That tells me that I'm a little bit off. Just to understand what the build is going to do on the next run, I'm going to kind of adjust my voltage here. So I'm going to actually calculate from now on 10S at 395, because that's actually the speed that we got, 164, 35, 36. And then if I gear up, I can kind of guesstimate what's going to happen, of course. However, now it's going to actually drop more with the voltage, and it's exponential. So it's not really exact science, but it kind of gives me an idea of what's going to happen and what to actually expect. However, remember, once the batteries are heat up, we have to actually treat it differently, because now the voltage is not going to drop as much. So kind of a game with it. But for now, what I'm going to do is probably run a 40-36. I'm going to actually increase to 40 pinion, get a feel for the car, and if that works well, I'm going to start hitting up the battery slowly but surely and get to my 200 mile an hour mark. All right, let's try this again. We charged these 3 batteries up, still not overcharged, not heat up. We gave the pinion a boost of 5 teeth. Usually it's unheard of, usually it's a little bit too much, but we were just too far off, and based on the calculation that we ran, that seemed to be something that we will be okay with. I'm always asking myself before the run, what do I want to see and what do I ask from the car? Based on the gearing and calculation, I think if I remember correctly, we've seen 187, but of course, like I said, it's not linear. We're gonna have much more drop, so we're asking the car for 180 miles an hour. And don't forget, we have an experimental diffuser that we're actually testing. I don't think that was a 180, maybe I'm wrong, but actually felt like a 170, 169. Voltage dropped even more. Maybe we just don't have a choice and we have to heat up those lipos. Those are very small relatively for S's, so maybe that's exactly what we're seeing. We're showing the 0 and we're showing the hero, so if something doesn't work, we're showing it as well. This is what the channel is all about. Let's actually pull the logs and see exactly what's what. All right, so 169, 343 on the amps. This is the drop, very, very substantial. So what we're going to do, still very cold, so no fear here, but got the old trusty heater out, obviously just a wooden box with 2 lunch heaters connected. We're starting to heat it up actually. We just connected it. We're gonna charge the batteries, give it some heat and help with the 10 volt is just a lot, and help with the voltage drop a little bit, and then we're gonna try and squeeze it slowly and see exactly what the car will do. I'm hoping to see the 180 at least for the next run with a little bit more heat. Let's see what we can do. Well, hello there. You want a speed run, boy? Oh no, that's a nice BSR, Oz, thank you. We kept the same gearing, but we did give the lipo some heat, kind of that cheat code for lipo to unlock a little bit more speed. We can definitely heat up a ton. We can definitely bring much bigger lipos, stronger lipos, which eventually we will. But I think there's some beauty in learning and educating as well when it comes to those setups. So I personally enjoy going slowly and showing the community exactly what the process is and exactly what the car is doing, what we can learn from it and whatnot, versus, you know, just ripping a crazy run and yay, I'm a hero. Eventually we will try to push those speeds, but I think the way they're analyzing exactly what the car is doing and whatnot is a lot more interesting. We've ended a pretty serious long period of time of crazy super run. That runway have seen some crazy speeds and some consistent builds, but we kind of took the time and stepped back a little bit just to kind of go back from the basic and show those things, because there's just a ton of guys out there that are breaking and crashing and burning builds. Track start. So I just find more fun and value in that. Anyway, build works well. 169, and now we heat it up. We're gonna breathe a little bit more, hoping that the car will hold it well, and hoping to see a 180 and above. I love how it sits on the center line. All right, so we definitely reached plateau. Car is just dead straight on the center line, just hugging that center line. For those who cares, perfect pass gyro. Gain is about 36. Looked okay. And stop, read 181. Yeah, so this is about what we thought will happen. Faster speed on the same exact gearing. Now on 181 we can actually open the log, see exactly what the car did and gear up accordingly. Pretty happy about the Cobra 5 Ace HV. So far been doing exactly what I wanted. 181 miles an hour. Temperature still looking good. I'm going to gear up more, and let's see, maybe even kiss the 190 today with that setup. Theoretically we're asking the car to present a 198, but of course, as we know, the more expectations, the more fatigue from the system, from the batteries, from the controller, from the motor. So I don't think we're gonna see a 198 on the dot, but if everything works fine, pretty hot out, so not the smartest, but we're already here. If everything works fine, I think we're gonna see something hopefully in the realm of 190. 187. Do I keep pushing it right now in the heat or not? I'm gonna actually take you guys with me and show you my process after a run. All right, so wheels, we're starting to see wheel damage at those speeds, but not that much. I mean, those wheels are still good. We can run them. 110 on the motor, Fahrenheit, and controller at 94, 95. Controller heatsink at 91, 90. Actually a lot better than I thought. So 96.8 on the front. Next to the motor terminal, 93, 95. Very, very good. So super happy about the setup. And car did okay, 187. Seems like those batteries are very small and we'll have to actually push a lot more if we want to get there. But let's open the logs and see exactly what the car did. Voltage dropped to 42.99 and 382 on the amperage, which is unheard of. Sub 400 for a 187. Love it. Temperature, everything looks good so far. Working horse. Again, not trying to promote. I know it sounds like a plug. I'm just showing the facts for good and for bad. Let's test some wheels. We are selling some wheels on the website that are Perfect Pass wheels, but they're made by a Chinese company that they proved to me throughout time that they have what it takes. We're selling them for a lot cheaper, of course, than BSR, because I don't think they're as good as BSR. BSR are the 200, 210, 220 wheels, and these are like a good 170, 180. We have an amazing compound right now on the website, and I don't want to change it, and I told them don't change the compound. However, every single time they send me, probably every good week or two, they send me new compounds that they want to try and be better and better. And now we're just going to do that. We're going to test these. We went through a lot of testing with these manufacturers in China. Ton of compounds. We've been testing for month and month and month. And we got to a compound of foam that we're really happy. And since then, it stuck. Like, we haven't changed it. And they're trying to change it every single time, every single month, probably every week or two. Like I said, they're sending me new compound. Let's try this one, let's try this one, because they're really trying to take BSR's place. Don't blame them, right? They're a business too. But so far, unsuccessful. And I love BSR, so whoever is good, I'm going to offer it on the site. I don't have any particular taste, of course. Whatever is good for the community is good for me. So it's either we're gonna have a good smooth run, or we're going to hear which is the wheel exploding. So we'll see. Just don't freaking crash my car, man. I love that car. It's a working horse. It's been doing great. We've tested all the Cobra 5 series on this car. Just if you explode, just don't wreck my car. Got straightened up. Here we go. It's hot, man. All right, here we go. Just at the end, it held for, I gotta tell you, man, the car is just pin straight. What a build, man. I know it sounds like a plug, but if you got everything perfect pass and everything is just tight and everything is built right, dude, it's just, I'm not steering the car. It's just planted on the center line. Perfect pass build throughout, and perfect pass gyro, perfect pass servo, just everything is right. And again, very passionate about it. For some of you that are new here, that might sound like a commercial to myself, but no, I'm actually extremely passionate about it. And I love seeing it. The car is just pin straight. So I did hear the wheels explode just at the end. 172, let's look at the wheels, and then we decide. Let me just screenshot so I can put that in the edit, and then we'll decide if we like that new compound or not. That took about a second. That took about a second to figure out. Anton always make the video so professional. You still have a headache? I'm sorry. Anton, ladies and gentlemen, our engineer. He's got a headache. Yeah. He's not with us today. All right, so let's see what the wheels did. So far, what we're trying to offer with those cheaper wheels is a good wheel to like 180-ish, 170, 180. And then you guys that are beginners can use the wheel, not spend as much money, and you know, it's like a 30-something% difference, and enjoy the same about experience without spending so much money. And once you get to the 170s, 180s, you start buying those BSR purples. But let's have a look. Yeah, this one kind of did okay. Front did great. So both fronts I'm actually pretty happy about. Let me just shut that off, disconnect it real quick, and get you guys closer to the car. Obviously an epic fail on that one. Maybe the body hit or something, but still, that's not a pass for me. This wheel intact, but weird, just weird looking in a way. Fronts are great, chunk. Fronts are great. So fronts, if the front stayed that way, that will be beautiful. But of course, most of the load is on the rear of the car. So do I like it? Are we going to change the compound? No. So we're staying with what we got, because the compound that we have, 170s were a breeze. 175, 180, that's pretty much the range when they start to actually fail. So far, no bueno. Well, so the Chinese are not going to be happy about it, but it is what it is. Community comes first, and now we switched back to those BSRs. We're going to do something that we're probably not supposed to do. Not smart, super hot out, but we're going to ask the car to kiss the 195. It didn't breathe as much as I wanted it to breathe, so that's a slight concern. We're still with timing at 10 degrees, still no turbo timing, no overheat, just trying to take it slow. Again, it's so freaking hot. You just have to be very mindful and careful of that. But seems like a good run. I wanted to hear it climbing a little bit more. I think the batteries didn't really like what I did to them, even with that little bit of heat. So I wanted to hear a little bit more climb. Concerning, but let's see what she did. And stop, read. No, 191. Yeah, I wanted to really see like a 195, but 191. We broke the 190. I'll take it. Super hot, smaller batteries. I think that's it for today. I have to be responsible and respect the setup in the car enough to understand that this is it for now. Setup works great. Everything works flawlessly. When it comes to the Cobra 5 Ace HV, working horse, dude. For now, that's it, folks. Let's go back to the shop, have a little chit chat.
What are you doing?
I'm telling you, man. I'm going to save this body because I spent so much time and effort on that body to make it so beautiful. If I had a hole in the plastic, I would not do it, but to be honest, I would not do it at home, or I would become single in exactly 1 minute. But at a public gas station and public restrooms, oh, I am. So and just a little bit of white paint and. Oh, sorry, kiddo. Go ahead. Yep. sorry. What? Oh. Okay, so I actually have a lot to say, and if you guys don't mind, I have a little talk from the heart I would like to have with you guys. Give me a minute. The more I edit the video, okay, the shadier the video looks. And here's why. Everyone knows I'm friends with Castle Creations, and I'm showing a video. I'm in a pickle now. I have a problem. I'm showing a video that shows Hobbywing fails on the first run. Castle is doing so great, feels effortless, a working horse, blah, blah, blah. Everything you've seen was genuine and legit, but the problem is that because I'm close with Castle, the video just looks shadier and shadier. So I have some things to say, and I hope you guys will give me that minute to just actually express exactly what I feel. With Hobbywing, one of my deals with them was that I can do whatever I want, show whatever I want, and say whatever I want without any agreements or anything related to that. And props to Hobbywing, a lot of credit to Hobbywing. They said, you know what? Fine, that's okay, which I think that's a really good move by them.
And here's what happened exactly. So we ran the car. By the way, this is the car after a burnout. We're going to have a nice video showing how I actually restored it. It actually looks good. Something to be said about the chrome plating that we've chose and how durable it was. I was actually pretty happy about everything here. This is after an ESC fire, and I actually contacted our workshop that does all our coding and said, hey, we're doing something right. So this will come soon. We're having a video. We're going to change the motor, of course. Here's what I think happened, because many people are actually using those Max 5 HV plus G2s successfully with amazing runs. So I cannot say this is a bad ESC. It's not. It's actually a very good ESC. This is what I think happened, because I do believe in diversity, and I think diversity is great for the hobby. We want to start carrying Hobbywing as well on the website to actually show and actually provide this diversity, which I think is healthy in the industry. Here's what I think happened. Most users that are using those Max 5 HVs are using some of those TPs. For example, this is going next on the car, TP 5680 970 kV on a 12S. I've heard that they communicate beautifully. I think the problem is this motor. I think this motor just does not filter that stress, load, and ripple back to the ESC and at braking, because I think the ESC burned at braking. It just burned the ESC on the first one. 175 miles an hour is way less than what I've seen online. I have many good friends, many amazing builders and drivers online doing amazing with those ESCs. So just to be fair, I don't have to say it. I don't owe Hobbywing or Castle anything, but I just wanted to be genuine and show, yes, you've seen a Hobbywing ESC burn on the first run, and then Castle is just doing marvels, run and run time and time again, effortlessly. But to be honest, this is what I truly believe, and we're going to still test it. I want to offer it on the website. I have the same interest. I think diversity is very important in our industry, so I'm not putting that ESC in a coffin yet. We're going to test a new setup, and I do think it has what it takes. Many drivers that are stronger and better than me are driving it successfully and doing marvels out there. So not a bad word on Max 5 yet. Yes, everything you've seen was true. Everything you've seen was genuine. That did happen, but this is what I think. This is why it happened, in my opinion, at least. Okay. When it comes to the car, we're going to have a restoration video soon. Although very, very happy how all the coatings, if it can take an ESC fire, then it can take pretty much everything. When it comes to the Castle, again, yes, working horse, everything works just flawlessly. And I have to tell you, this is one of the first times that I actually felt that Castle is going to actually pull themselves out of the coating hole that they've been through for quite some time lately. ESC, I think Castle was just really testing and really actually trusting their ESC's hardware versus actually putting more effort into coding as well. It's both, right? You need good hardware, which they do have, and coding. I think coding was iffy until now, and I was actually starting to think that it was a very childish move by Castle, because it can actually make them lose a lot of business. They make good stuff, they're lacking on the coding. I didn't thought that was a smart move, but now that actually felt effortless. The ESC worked great. No issues whatsoever. Everything felt smooth. Everything ticked exactly how it should tick. Temperatures were extremely cold. So with that new firmware, I think it's a 1.51, it gave me the glimpse of the future that might be actually very, very good and bright for Castle, because now everything worked just great with the ESC. Happy about that. Cobra 5 Ace HV passed with flying colors. Very happy about it. BSR, just wanted to show you the Zero and the Hero. This is after a 191 run. I wish it was a little bit better, but what can we expect, dude? It's a foam wheel with a plastic ABS, whatever that is, rim, and this is it pretty much. So BSRs failed also. Of course, front looks better. When it comes to the body, another good credit that I want to give Hobbywing, it was actually amazing, and I wish Castle will actually learn from them. It was actually amazing and comfortable in a way that when an ESC fire occurs, it actually extinguishes itself after a while instead of just shorting the lipos and have a catastrophe. With a lot of Castle Creations, if you have an ESC fire, those will stay arced. And when they stay arced, you'll have both lipos actually going off. The entire build is actually a disaster. With Hobbywing, I actually like to see that it was
burning itself, but then negative and positive did not arc. Maybe something Castle can actually learn from Hobbywing, because that's actually a beautiful thing that makes the build something you can actually recover, right? Less damage. The body also, what a freakazoid of an accident, just the paint, dude. After a nice wash and whatnot, I think I'm gonna be able to restore the body and just paint white wherever white is needed. And we actually might be able to test this again. Something about the diffuser that I was actually very, very happy with. This is, of course, an experimental diffuser. It's got a very, very interesting shape to it. We ran a ton of simulations on the computer. This is obviously just a PETG printed version, a working horse of a car that's been through a lot, but car was just pin straight. So I think we might be actually going for this design. The biggest problem with diffusers, of course, is that the mold is extremely expensive. So you really have to be sure that this is the best thing you can offer to your community. This mold is between $13,000 and $18,000, which makes that product, how expensive can you sell a plastic product, right? Which makes this product a loser for at least 2 years. Only after about a year or two, how many people buy diffusers, right? That will start to be profitable after you invest so much in a mold. But we're not doing it for the money, we're doing it for passion, and I think I'm gonna go for it. I think soon we're going to offer diffuser. Is just a tough one to take. You know, it's just a lot of money on products that you know that will break even only after 2 years. Just tough. This is pretty much it. We do offer many new things on the website, but I've seen the traffic. About 1,500 people a day go on our website, and so you guys see it. Oh, hats are back, by the way. Many of you asked me. Many of our customers love the hats. There are original flex fit, so they're extremely comfortable. You don't have to adjust them. They just wrap around your head, and very, very high quality hats. People love them. So hats are back on the website, and they're relatively cheap. So go grab them. And many other things. Folks, thank you so much. I know it's a very long video, but I wanted to cover many, many things. Soon we're going to have new videos of new products coming out. And I think I'm going to do a nice, quick, cool video about restoring this one. Very, very happy about how the chassis and everything actually held in the ESC fire. This is why, obviously, the ESC was thrown away. But this is pretty much it. Guys, thank you so much for everything you are to us. You are the reason we're here. And without you, all of that will pretty much not exist. I'm Ross Schifrin. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you in the next one.